Hello, everyone. This is Maria Feekes, Executive Director of Adonis Fertility International. We're here on our bi-weekly webinar again. Excited to be here with you. And today is one of my favorite guests. We had Oksana Lutsenko. She's the head of our Adonis legal team. She has been in quite a few meetings with us, but she's really phenomenal. So I'm excited for her to share her expertise and really dive deep into the whole legal side of the surrogacy in Ukraine specifically. Guys, we do surrogacy in Ukraine and in the United States, but today we are focusing on Ukraine. Okay. Hi, Oksana.
Hi, Maria. I'm really glad to be here today with you. I know how surrogacy is important for parents and how much time and money and efforts they pay for their dream. So I'm proud to be here, and I hope that I can help today to understand more about surrogacy in Ukraine.
Thank you so much. So guys, to bring everyone on the same page, and I know, families that are joining, they might be at the different steps of the journey. Okay, but we want to make sure that we have served you well, and we actually, and some things might be a repetition for you, but it's not repetition for others. So please bear with us. The idea is that we're going to start from the beginning of the journey, from the very beginning. Yes, when you're making a decision and you're considering surrogacy in Ukraine as one of the international options for the surrogacy. We'll talk about requirements and so forth, and then we're going to move forward through the types of surrogacy, through the legal documents, some things about how the agreement works between the surrogate and intended parents, and we're definitely going to be talking about the exit process. Okay, so if you are particularly interested in this, one of the phases, and I'm so sorry, guys, I'm going to be muting. Okay, thank you so much. So as you're joining, we're going to be muting. Yes, but we will get your question. And guys, also in the chat, please include your questions as well. We're going to be picking them up as we're going. Okay. So, Oksana, yes, let's jump in. So let's really start, from the very, very beginning. So if someone is considering surrogacy in Ukraine, what do they need to know about the specific of the surrogacy in this country? And also what they should be preparing as far as the documents that would be required for them.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, it's very important that actually we are here because surrogacy in Ukraine is absolutely legal. Yes, it is the legal type of methods of IVF in Ukraine. And in order to start the program in Ukraine, comparing especially to the US, the first requirement that it should be the couple who are in the registered marriage, and should consist of male and female. Homosexual couples cannot use surrogacy in Ukraine. So it's very important in case, for example, some intended parents wants to enter to surrogacy program in Ukraine and they are not married, they cannot, unfortunately. And in order to make this happen, they need to register their marriage.
Okay.
Also, it's important that in order to start the program, the women need to have the presence of medical indication for surrogacy. So in this case, we ask parents to provide us with the medical letter from doctor, or to come to Ukraine and verify the medical indication with our doctor. In order we understand and see that there are the real medical indications for surrogacy. Also, the spouse who is interested in surrogacy must have at least the genetic link with the child. It means at least one of the IPs need to have it. So a wife or husband or both of them, they can use either donor oocytes, eggs, or donor sperm, but not donor embryos.
Okay.
And also it's important that surrogate mother cannot have the direct genetic link with the baby, with the child. It's also not possible. So she cannot be like egg donor, I would say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So in many cases, I'm being asked question is, so for example, you're saying it's a heterosexual married couple, one of the requirements for the surrogacy in Ukraine. Families asking, does it matter how long family has been married for?
So now there is no the specific law which requires any time for any period of marriage. So you can marry it just before you start the program. But the trend is that it's possible that Ukraine can issue the law which will regulate it. And it's possible. We don't know when it's happened. If it could happen, it happened like the prior you start journey, prior everything, because it's not possible in Ukraine that the law will be established and you need to follow it like say next day after it was proclaimed. Our legislation authority, they usually provide us with the timeline in order to follow these new restrictions. For example, usually they give you like a 1 year in order to be prepared to prepare for new rules. So it means that for now, there is no specific law about the time that you should be in a marriage.
Okay, okay, perfect. And then if the law will be taking in place, then there will be some time that will be waived, that condition, and the law will not have retrospective action. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense. All right, thank you so much. Since we're talking, yes, about requirements, then let's jump into the documents. So let's say family goes through this checklist, they meet every single requirement. What are the documents that are required to participate in surrogacy in Ukraine?
So the first document, actually, I already told you, this is the medical letter from doctor in case family decided not to travel to Ukraine and to get the doctor's indication letter from Ukraine here. So we ask just to prepare this letter from your doctor and to send it to us. The original should be sent to Ukraine. Also, it's valid international passport, so no driver license or any other ID. We need like valid international passports. And only after that, we can sign the agreement with the surrogate mother. Also, it is the document which confirmed the marriage. So it's like marriage certificate or marriage license, or in other countries like Japan, it could be just extract from the registry and so on. It's called in different ways, but the meaning of this document that which you are in registered marriage according to the law. And it must be apostilled. Most likely it's apostilled or legalized by consular section of consul of Ukraine in your country. But now there is the convention, and a lot of countries support this convention regarding apostille. That is why almost all countries, they accept apostille as a criteria to get this, to verify these documents in their countries. So most likely, even if you're from China or from Canada who used to use like consular legalization, now they change it to apostille, and we ask you to prepare apostille for certificate of marriage.
Okay, so if people don't know what apostille means, so apostille is a one-step authentication, correct? That is typically done by the legal entity, not of Ukraine, right? Not of the consul of the Ukraine, but some legal entity of that particular country where the marriage certificate was issued. So an example of USA, for example, it's Secretary of State. Yes, like in Canada, it's, I think there are 3 different entities that can act in such power. Yes.
I don't remember for sure, yes, but it's quite a statistic. Yes, authority who issued marriage certificate, and the same The same authority or Ministry of Justice, something like the equivalent of this authority, need to verify it by stepping they just you the apostle one more page to your original document. And it will be like the confirmation that the person who signed your original document has the power and has the right to sign it.
Okay, wonderful. So we said original medical letter. By the way, what do you mean under the word original? Because in many countries, so I know for Ukraine, original, it means it has a stamp, but many countries do not put stamps, like clinics do not have stamps. So what makes the document original?
So stamps, it's not actually the requirements. Yes, in Ukraine, we also have some companies that use stamps, some not. So more like government companies, government authority, they use it. But private, it's not obligatory for them. And actually, we need the wet signature. It's important for us. It's not so important to have the stamp, but it's important to have the signature of doctor who signed this letter.
Okay, so it cannot be like, PDF file, electronic signature to be used. It needs to be a paper document where doctor have signed it by ink. Okay, so that's what really Ukraine means under the question, what's original, how original letter looks like. All right, so we have medical indication letter, we have valid passports. Also, you mentioned marriage certificate with legalization, apostle, whatever legalization is. Is there anything else needed to start the process?
So in most cases, parents, they decide not to come to Ukraine in order to start the process because it's possible to sign all the papers that needs to be signed in order to start it remotely. That is why most cases parents issue the power of attorney. So the power of attorney is the document with help of which you can empower other person to sign or to make do some actions instead of you. Yeah, for example, you can empower me as a lawyer to sign some papers, to sign some documents here in Ukraine instead of you, on your behalf. And it really simplifies the process. It gives you the opportunity not to reach Ukraine, to travel to Ukraine and sign everything in real time. Yeah, you can just authorize the person or the different persons, our team, and with help of this document, it's possible to sign the surrogacy agreement and all other sets of documents, because actually surrogate program, it's very there are a lot of parties who are involved, and a lot of like companies could be involved, like hospital, maternity hospital, IVF clinic, the clinic who take care about the pregnancy of surrogate mother. It's also agency, legal company, and so on. And with help of this document, this person can sign document on your behalf, and only after you approve it, yes, in case you agree to sign this document, he has the right to do it.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so, and when you're mentioning, as far as different entities, so for example, in Adonis, we really control the whole process from start to finish. It is within Adonis umbrella, but even, because Adonis has so many entities, yes, so they're not subcontractors, but they really Adonis hospitals, Adonis clinic, we have our own embryo lab, there's diagnostic center and fertility clinic and OBGYNs and so forth. But even within Adonis Medical Group, yes, which one of the largest privately owned medical operations in Ukraine, each of the entity is still runs as a separate legal entity. So there's still, quite a few documents that needs to be signed. Okay. That makes sense. So yes, the families could be starting the journey without travel to Ukraine. And you will need to be in Ukraine when you're picking up the baby. We're going to get to this portion when we will talk about the exit process. Okay.
I'm sorry, Maria, and very
Yeah.
important note that this power of attorney, in case you sign it in your country, you also need to legalize it to get apostille on it. So most likely we will ask you to get to get apostilled in the same time, the marriage certificate and power of attorney. And
Okay.
power of attorney is prepared in Adonis. It's prepared by legal team, so it's not a problem, and you will get it very fast from the very beginning when you decided to move with us.
Okay, okay. And of course, some of the families they're asking, know, can I have my own attorney from my own country review those documents? Guys, we always say absolutely, right? So, whatever you want. One thing that you're going to be running into, yes, is the person from another country will be probably not, I mean, they could take a look just from the legal perspective, but they really not licensed to do legal documentations in Ukraine, right? So every attorney has some area of responsibility, geographical area where they license to do things. So for this reason, they cannot really give you a very deep legal advice, but they could say, well, hey, just from the legal perspective overall, I want to make sure that you have this, right? So some of the things that we ran into with these families, I think we had a couple where they really spent a lot of times for this review, yes, and at the end, it was really Oksana and her team who were doing a lot of the answering questions and so forth. So we welcome you. We absolutely want you to do your due diligence. Yes, just know that sometimes there could be some limitations. So the way to approach could be whatever questions you have, okay, whether you work with Adonis or with another team, I don't know, but we definitely always welcome that. Bring us as many questions as you want or as you have. We could be on a call with you reviewing each, the documents and going in details to where you're really understanding every section and everything that the process entail and why certain things are in those agreements or in those documents. We're more than happy to answer that. Okay. But we definitely, but the moment you start understanding more, then even if you're looking for some maybe sort of opinion or something, then it's easier for you to have the conversation because you're not asking someone to give you legal advice on a scope of work in essence where they're not really licensed to do so. Okay. Next, and I don't know, do you want to talk about affidavit of a name change? I know it's really needed for the exit, but we like to do it ahead of time. It's not needed for every person, but it does come up, and sometimes families don't know what it means. So why affidavit of a name change sometimes is required?
It actually depends, Maria. Sometimes it needs in the beginning of the program because in case the real name, not the surname, but even the name on this marriage certificate of one person is different from the marriage certificate of, I'm sorry, from the passport. It means that for Ukraine, it's like different person. That is why even the notary, in order to get notarized the surrogacy agreement between parents and surrogate mother, they need to verify and be sure that the person in marriage certificate and the person is passport is the same person. In that way, of course, we can sometimes parents they have like special documents like court order or something like that, which confirm their change name because they just, for example, decided to change their name at some period of their life, yes, and they have this official confirmation. That will be enough for us. Actually, in case you have this official confirmation, we just will ask you again to get it apostille. Because it will be verified, we can accept it only after apostille will be there, and it will be sufficient, and that's all. So we won't ask you to prepare any additional documents. But for example, sometimes the in marriage certificate, for example, women decided to take the surname of husband, but in passport she decided not to change it yet, or she just changed her mind. And in marriage certificate we see that she should change it, but in fact in passport we see she didn't do it. And for Ukraine, again, this marriage certificate and passport they do not match. and means that we need to prepare like additional affidavit. It's the statement from actually this person who has these issues with the name or surname, and just we also prepare it and give to this person to get it notarized and to get it apostille again, in order when you get a birth certificate for your baby, there is no questions, additional questions or issues from the authority who issued birth certificate.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Let's talk about a little bit about surrogacy agreement. So surrogacy agreement between intended parents and surrogate mother. Yes, so maybe like what to expect from this document, how it's being regulated. And I know it's a whole huge topic. We could have like a whole separate webinar on that, but just, at least there is like a snapshot of what to expect on that phase. And what also it means. We do get a lot of questions about what does it mean notarized surrogacy agreement, and because usually like notary works quite different in different countries. Yes. So
actually notary in Ukraine is very popular service. In order to sell the property or to sell, I don't know, something very pricey, or to get also like the notarized some very essential agreements of the in life of the person, you have to get it notarized. You even don't have the right not to verify it by notary. You have to do it. And the same situation with the surrogacy agreement, because actually notary is the person with like huge experience. In Ukraine, comparing with the US, it's like the big deal. You need to have it, of course, the diploma, Master of Law. You have to have at least 7 years of experience in a notary before, and in order to get license, it means that like you need to work assistance of notary for 7 years. It's a huge. So notary in Ukraine here, it's a very important profession, and it also show us how surrogacy important in Ukraine, that notary should have to verify it, and it will be not legal. The agreement in Ukraine, the surrogacy agreement in Ukraine is not legal without notary stamp. So it's very important. And for example, the parents who will make decision to go maybe with other agency or other medical clinic, they need to remember about that, because maybe sometimes some agencies, they don't know about that or just waive this requirement. Sometimes it could happen, but it's important. It's important, and to make your document official. Yes, actually official. So agreement with surrogate mother, it regulates actually relationship between you and surrogate mother. It's very detailed document which contains all the rights and obligations of the parties. This document gives you the opportunity to defend your rights in case of the violation by surrogate mother. I can say that, thanks God, the violations are very rare, but we need to have this contract, and you, of course, also will feel more protected in case you have this very detailed document. Yes, we try to predict any circumstances that can arise, and to write it down and to motivate our surrogate mother to strictly adhere at the terms of the contract by these conditions of contract.
okay, great. And guys, please, if you have any additional questions, but otherwise, I'm going to continue going. So again, to summarize, because the next question I had is also about some of the pitfalls of doing surrogacy in Ukraine. You already mentioned one. You're saying that, you have noticed that sometimes in practice, that is important step of notary of the surrogacy agreement is being omitted. And guys, it might seem to be so easy because you're like, well, clinic agreed, surrogate mother signed, we started the medical process, everything is good. But what happens is, right, we always looking into process with your end goal in mind. Your end goal is baby is born, you recognize as parents, yes, there are no delay in the process, and you are returning back to your country, home, with all of the set of documents that is needed. Notarized surrogacy agreement will definitely come in place when you're going to be doing registration of your child's, in essence, that's your really official step of the saying that you are the parents of the baby. Yes, that's receiving of the birth certificate. Without notarized surrogacy agreement, you will not receive birth certificate. Yes, so it's very important, and you cannot backdate that, right? Like a notary and signature must match. Is this correct?
Maria, it's just a little note that, for example, this notarized agreement with surrogate mother, it is not required like them for in order to get birth certificate. They required a set of documents which will be like the statement for surrogate mother, like a lot of medical documents, passports, and translations of documents. But notarized agreement usually is required by embassies in order to provide citizenship and issue passport for baby. That is why it's important also to know. Not all countries require surrogacy agreement. Some of countries, they just require DNA test, something like that. For example, the US embassy, they just waive this requirement about DNA test. It really depends and change from time to time. So it's important to have updates from embassy and ask them if anything changed or not, especially if you do not have like the a legal counselor, if you do not have a legal team who supports you. So take care to find out what is the current process of taking back home your baby, what documents you need to prepare and to get here in Ukraine in order it's possible to get the passport for baby and to cross the border of Ukraine. Yes, to cross the border of Ukraine.
Okay, no, thank you so much. That's a huge clarification. Another thing I know that sometimes well, at least we have seen it and we were shocked, is where sometimes parents are being told that the agreements could not have a termination clause. Okay, so is it true that just like in any I would probably say in any civilized laws countries, there is no such agreement that does not have term for termination? So could you talk us through that? So just I want to make sure that you guys do have that, because we had a couple instances where families were coming from other agencies or other places, and they felt like they're being held hostage or something, right? And there were some things that were omitted. So there are just common things that must be in your agreements, no matter, like, it's not nice to have, you must have that.
Yes, please pay attention that agreement for one page, it's not an agreement. And sometimes it's could be really tricky that there are no actually any regulations about termination, or there is no way to terminate it. There is the one part, and another part has the right to terminate it in different cases, especially you before the surrogate mother get pregnant. You have this right to terminate agreement with the agency and or I don't know, clinic, whatever. Any party who is involved in the process, because it's normal that customer has this right according even to legislation of each country. So if the agency gives you such conditions, please be careful with these conditions and with this agreement, and actually be careful with this agency. Just think twice about it, if it's really good or not. Should you rely on this agency or not? It's also, important. For example, I can say about Adonis that for us, reputation is very important. I know that there are there are some agencies in Ukraine that don't have like the connection to the name of some clinic, because we are connected. Yeah, we are Adonis Fertility International, and our owners are the same owners and so on with our agency and our clinic. So we actually like the same people. Yeah, but sometimes agency just appear and then they decided to disappear on the second day, and it's very easy for them because they do not have to be licensed. There is no requirement for agencies, for companies who decided to provide like information services or coordination services. They can disappear next day and you won't find any information about them because they are not connected with some clinic, and clinic in Ukraine is also a big deal like with notary. uh, because you need to get special license. You have a lot of responsibilities, and there is some periods that Ministry of Health Care makes some provides with some help me, Maria.
Audits?
Uh, yeah. So it's like audits and so on. That is why it's important actually maybe to, in case you make this choice, it's to find the clinic and agency like one facility or something like that. So there are a lot some clinics and some agency who work like Adonis. It's not only Adonis, and I think they really care about their reputation. They really care about the legal side of program, and you can rely on them.
Okay, so do your research. Yes, that's very important. So thank you so much. All right, let us now go also into the types of surrogacy, just maybe briefly. For example, families ask, is it possible if I already have embryos created and they're stored in another country, can I bring my embryos to Ukraine? Or another question would be, if I do need to have donor material, like you said, it only could be one side or the other. It cannot be both donor material, cannot be donated embryos for specifically for the surrogacy. So is there anything in addition that families should be considering from the legal perspective about, like, for example, is the family making agreement directly with the donor? Or is it all looping back, let's say to us, to the medical institution? So how does it work?
Yeah, so your first questions was about embryos. It's possible to deliver embryos from different countries, and we have like the good relationship with couriers, the private courier companies who take care specifically about biological material transportation. So be sure that your embryos or other material are in good case. They also like work on the market of the surrogacy of this transportation for a long period of time. And we are proud that we are contractors with them. It's possible. You just need to contact with your clinic where the embryos stored in your country, and also maybe to fill also some paperwork which is required, and provide us with some results of yes, results of your medical results from previous time when the embryos was created. So yes, we just need to resolve some issues with paperwork, and then it's possible to get embryos and stored here in Ukraine. Also, egg donation. It's very important that in Ukraine it's anonymous. So it's not possible, for example, to find the donor by your own and decide to make the contract with her or something like that, or to ask notary or attorney to provide you with this agreement, something like that. Only clinic has the right to find you the donor and provide you with candidates of donor. Agency has the right to give you the access to the specific closed database with the pictures of donors, but without any other information. And you will never be connected with the donor, and it's just not possible in Ukraine. So this is, and we feel it like it's a trend in other countries too. Yeah, but egg donation is very popular, and it's still anonymous, and most likely in Ukraine this trend will be for several next years.
It was okay. So compare, for example, I know like in USA, for example, more and more families they're considering open donation, where the donor and the family know each other. They might even have some agreements where then offsprings, right, that will come up with the process as a result of the fertility journeys will also know the donor, and maybe different families will know each other. It's something to consider. It's definitely big question that is coming up in the industry, industry overall. We might even do like a special topic on that. You know, there is a lot of ethical questions that come in place and the responsibilities, you know, things like that. But just specifically for Ukraine, when you're dealing with Ukraine and it's anonymous donors, and there is no way around it. Okay, so, and if anything changes, you know, Oksana will update us, but like she said, the trend could be like that for quite a few years to stay, and we do not see movement in this area. All right, sounds good. So yeah, so you can bring embryos from another clinic or another, well, really we say it from another clinic, but you know, you can bring it from another country. We do the full coordination. Legal team will help with whatever documents are needed. You can bring semen, right, from another country. Again, if you do not want to travel to Ukraine, and let's say you're using surrogacy with egg donation program, your semen could be brought with a hand carry courier. Absolutely not a problem. Yeah, and then you could find a donor of either side, and that could be facilitated, you know, by the agency you work with. And we actually have our own egg bank and donor bank, sperm donor bank. So we could support with that as well. All right, glancing through my questions, hang on. Well, I think this was embryos. Yes, let's jump into the exit process. I know we're skipping a big step about pregnancy observation, but as far as legal perspective, from your perspective, there is nothing in addition, right? So many things already decided. So it's more the medical side, right? Medical coordination are dealing more with that. So you more at the beginning, and then you're really jumping into the exit. So let's talk about that. How does it look like? What is happening? And I did say that first, we're just gonna look overall exit process, the key milestones, but then I really want to talk maybe more from this perspective of maybe USA and Canada. We do support a lot of families from specifically North America, so maybe we'll review the process more specifically from that perspective.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so the actually the common procedure for all type of citizenship will be the getting of birth certificate in Ukraine. Actually, this step is the easiest one for parents, because usually agency or adonis or the lawyer take care about this, because you need to prepare documents in Ukrainian language. There are some documents from clinic which confirm which genetic material was used. There is the document from maternity hospital which confirmed that surrogate mother gave the birth to a baby, and documents from a surrogate mother, the statement that she agreed that you both will be recognized as parents, the legal parents of this child. And also your passport, marriage certificate, and in case you ever changed your name, the document which confirmed that you ever changed your name. All these documents will be prepared and translated into Ukrainian and submitted by a lawyer or by a representative of agency. And your main task actually will be just to arrive to Ukraine, come to the specific time and specific day, and put your signatures, and that's all. You will get it on the same day. It's actually important to mention then the current practice in Lviv, where most our pregnancies and actually deliveries take place. We can get birth certificate in the same day, and there is no additional additional step of Ministry of Justice verification of the set of documents. Because in Kiev, in case births take place in Kiev, and we apply for Kiev Civil Registry Office in order to get birth certificate, there is one additional step that Ministry of Justice need to verify these documents. And it means that it could delay this process. Unfortunately, maybe sometimes Ministry of Justice will not be happy with some documents. They need like special additional confirmation. Some of them even ask for DNA results, which is not a requirement actually according to legislation, but they just want to double confirm that everything is fine. So we recommend to have delivery in Lviv. It's really simplified the process. Of course, there is super a professional in Lviv, and maternity hospital in phenomenal. But the other reason why we ask you to decide to make decision regarding Lviv is that it's a really simple process in getting the birth certificate, and very fast. So yes, in Kiev it is not so easy. That is why we need to discuss it before to make decision where to do it, and parents need to understand what will be the timeline for Kiev and what timeline will be for Lviv before to make this decision. So this is like the main process, the common process. Most likely for most countries, also the embassy asks to get apostille on birth certificate, but for example, for the US, they do not require it. That is why it's also no delay in order to get it, because it really depends. Sometimes apostille takes around 1 or 2 days, and sometimes like 1 week. And in order to get it, you need just to stay in Ukraine and do nothing, just wait for birth certificate. And that is why it's very good that, for example, the US embassy doesn't require it. As far as I remember, the Canadian, they require it. So you just need to wait. There is no way around it. Yes, and if we want to talk about specifically U.S. embassy, actually the process starts.
And hang on, before we jump into the embassy, let me pass on the birth certificate. One of the common questions that families are asking is who is listed on the birth certificate?
Only parents are listed in the birth certificate. Only parents who signed the contract with surrogate mother. So surrogate mother will not be mentioned at all. She will be mentioned in the document which can be issued like the additional document to the birth certificate. For example, the US embassy required this document. But this is like the additional one. No one never asked about it. And for example, this only the US embassy who requires it. The Canadian, Japanese, I don't know, Chinese, they don't require this document. You don't. It's not the essential application addition to birth certificate, because in this document you will see the whole history of the process, where the baby was born, who is the surrogate mother, where the IVF process take place, and like the whole history. And the US embassy needed now, because they waived the DNA test requirement. So now when the war started, they understood that it will be really difficult to take care about DNA for parents, because it doesn't simplify process at all. It will make it longer, comparing with just come to compare this right now. You just come and present some documents, some additional documents, and get your passports and can come back to your country. Because before the war, you need to wait here maybe like week or 2 weeks. It depends of the lab that you decided to choose, and to send the samples of the DNA. Now we really hope that this trend, yeah, will be with us for a long time, because it's really simplified the process for our parents. Yeah, so actually, as I started from the US Embassy, um, yeah, it's very good news that they do not need the DNA. Instead of this, they ask for additional documents, but also good news that clinic and agency prepare these documents, not parents. Parents just need to take care about physical presence in the US. It's really actually um, some documents, some set of documents that sometimes require like time for parents to prepare. You need to, one of the parents or both of parents, it depends of the genetic link to baby. In case only one parent is genetically linked to baby, only this parent need to prepare these documents. It's documents which confirm that you've been in the United States for 5 years, any 5 years of your life. And actually, also, you need to indicate all these precise periods of your life in the US, exclude your absence in the US, which is very sometimes not so easy, because, for example, especially for parents who travel a lot, yeah, yeah, they need to make sure that in case they indicate a specific period in the form of application, they need to be sure they were in the United States. So be sure that they won't travel this period. So sometimes it takes a long time to verify it, to check it, to indicate it, to find these 5 years. That is why I usually ask parents to take care about it before baby birth. Maybe in 1 month before baby birth, yes. Also, it's important that beside the marriage certificate, embassy also requires the divorce paperwork. In case you were married before your current marriage, you need to prove by documents this divorce too. That is why they also, embassy will also ask you about it. And in case you do not have like the originals, the hard copies of this documentation, you need some time in order to ask to apply for the hard copies, yes, to your, I know, vital office or court. That is why it's also these documents that you need to prepare. Actually, I couldn't say that there are a lot of documents that parents need to take care about. So a lot of them, and most of them need to be prepared, but agency medical, it's like medical part. But there are a lot some, this part it's actually enough sometimes for parents to be confused, to maybe to not understand it. And what is also changed comparing with the previous year. So this year, embassy decided to make the online application of CRBA. CRBA, it's consular report of birth abroad. This is the confirmation of the citizenship of baby. So in case you want to get the US citizenship of baby, you need to get this document. It's like naturalization certificate, yes, in case you get it in the US. But in case your baby was born abroad, you need to get this document. So in order to apply for it, you cannot apply it with the help of paper. You just come to embassy and apply it with a paper. You need, before to apply for an appointment at the embassy, you need to complete it online and send it to embassy. So embassy would see, review it, review all the documents. With help of them, you confirm everything, that you complete everything and collected all the documents. Only after that, they will give you the date of appointment.
Okay.
And sometimes it really takes takes a lot of time for parents to prepare this application. That is why in maybe in 2 months before the due date, I ask parents start doing it.
Mhm.
And also passport application. Passport application is not so difficult. It's like the standard application. That is why you don't need to find some specific information. You actually can, you don't need special equipment, special papers to do it. Just fill in, and maybe it will take for you like 10 or 15 minutes. Take care about it.
Okay, okay, all right. So you're saying preparation of the documents is kind of like a homework that you guys are doing. We cannot do it for you. You have to do it, whatever your embassy is requiring. But you provide all of the instructions and everything. And I know we like to start it at the third trimester. So yes,
Yeah.
it takes some time, but we're giving you plenty of time. So you are coming prepared. But the moment you're here, we actually, like, I don't know how other teams do it, but we like to organize everything back to back. Okay.
Yeah.
So our families are really in and out. Okay. So that's how we like to set it up. Yeah. So huge kudos to you, Oksana. Huge kudos to also the medical coordination team. You guys are phenomenal. So over and over, families are saying, wow, like the process of getting the baby and coming back was exceptional. So right, but do things ahead of time, and you will be in a great shape. Now, a question that is being asked, two questions are being asked. One is, because my baby is born in Ukraine, does that mean that my baby is Ukrainian citizen?
No. So in case it will be born by two Ukrainians, I mean the parents will be Ukrainian, yes, for sure, the baby will get the Ukrainian citizenship, I'm sorry, automatically. But in case the foreigners are the parents of this baby, it's possible to apply for it and get it, but it takes like 3 or 6 months or even maybe more in order to get it. And comparing with other citizenship, especially for like British, the US, Canadian, Japanese, Chinese, like the most popular ones, it's very, very long time to to wait for it, and it's also expensive, and it's also a lot of documents to prepare. It's more difficult, and I'm not sure it's worth it. I mean, sometimes maybe you can take care of this here. I'm sorry, I just forget to mention that the double citizenship is forbidden in Ukraine. So for sure, you need at first to verify that you don't want to accept the citizenship of the parents, like the US, for example, citizenship. You refuse it, and you want only Ukrainian. And it's difficult process because you need to involve embassy in this process. Embassy could be not happy about it. That is why I do not recommend to take care about Ukrainian citizenship. It's really not easy. It will be like the challenge for family to get it.
Okay.
And also, in case one of the parents is Ukrainian and another one is foreigner, you need also to get like special. If you want to get Ukrainian citizenship, you need to adhere like the special procedure. It's also very difficult. That is why it's easier to get the foreigner citizenship.
Okay, okay. And I think for majority of the families, they actually do not look for Ukrainian citizenship, but I think families just more, I don't know if it's a worry or something. They're just trying to understand somehow there is a misconception that if your child is born in whatever country, right, then automatically that citizenship applies to them. So I think it's actually good that, yes, no, it's not automatic and the process is complicated. So yes, the child will receive your citizenship, guys, whatever citizenship that you have. We will, the child acquires your citizenship and comes back already, with all of the documents necessary for you. Yes. And we follow the steps of your embassies of your government that is recommended, for this kind of procedures. And another question was, Do both parents need to be present, or there is, there is certain circumstances sometimes, one parent is sick, right, or cannot fly or whatever, like not fly for the reason of fear, but literally there is medical indication that one parent cannot be. So is it possible to do exit process through one parent?
So, Maria, I can say that actually it depends, and it could change. Again, the attitude of civil registry to these exceptions of the process. Some exceptions can be accepted as exceptions, and some of them not. That is why it really depends, and each specific case will be plea by us with the help of us to civil registry in order to get it verified. But actually, in general, it's possible. So it's possible, but it depends on the specific case. We had this experience, and it means for parent who will be absent in Ukraine that he or she need to get more documents notarized and apostilled, and it could also take some time comparing with the when both parents travel to Ukraine. It will take more time with all this paperwork. But I remember that for our American father, I don't, yes, for mother, American mother who travel alone, in spring, it take the same time as it take for parents who travel to Ukraine together. It's because also it depends of the state. It depends of the timeline of apostille in your state, in case it is the US, yes. Because sometimes for example, there are services that you can walk in and get apostle in the same day, so you can deliver it or give it to your wife or husband very fast, and your wife or husband can use this document, take this document to Ukraine and use them very fast. There is no delays, but sometimes if there is the state and the postal takes so long, there could be the delays in the process, and that is why sometimes parents when they try to compare if they travel alone or if they travel together, they decide to travel together. But it's really the case to case, it could change.
Okay, thank you so much. So, but in either case, so I think what really maybe like a summary could be that, guys, whatever support is needed, so well, at least like the way we operate, you are never by yourself. So Oksana, her team, they really know every single step, and they leading you through the process, right? So you do not need to run around and try to figure out the process by yourself. It's going to be done for you, with you, and the end goal is really that you're going back home as a parent of your baby or babies. We do have twins. Quite a few families decide to go on twins or maybe back-to-back journeys. That's also a possibility. And that you have everything is needed to return to your country. We are actually on top of the hour. We like to finish on top of the hour, especially that it's evening for you guys, for you, Oksana, and I'm so grateful you took your time. If anyone have any questions, do feel free to send us an email. Yes, you could always direct it to info@adonisfertilityintl.com. We could funnel it back to Oksana and she could brainstorm things with you. So it is a possibility. Yes, and so maybe Oksana, anything in closing that you would like to share? I know fertility is a big, just dear subject to you. There is a reason why you have been working for many years in the fertility world. If there is anything you wish to tell parents that are considering surrogacy in Ukraine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I mean, you're absolutely right that this is like it's a huge for me, and it's very important for me. So, and it's a huge pleasure for me. So when I meet here the parents, it's like the most beautiful days in my life, because I have this opportunity to guide you here and to support you here, finally to meet you here and hug you and see your child, because it's actually a long period, and a long service. Not There are not so many services, I don't know, spheres in your life where you can be attached to your customers, yeah, to your lawyer or supportive team for such a huge period of time. That is why when you finally meet, it's very, very special moments, and we are really happy that we have this opportunity to see you and to support you, and finally see you and hug you. So yeah, I really hope that this information will be useful for you, and you now understand more about the Ukrainian surrogacy, and you know that Ukraine is a really good opportunity to get your baby, to get your miracle, to come through, your miracle, your wish and everything. That is why you really need to think about it. And yes, I wish you that finally your dreams come true.
Thank you so much. Well, on this positive note, so grateful for you, grateful guys for each of you who has spent time with us today. So Oksana, many blessings to you and to your family, and please be well, okay?
Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye everyone.